3 breakout candidates. We both made a list of 3 players, and we're just going to kind of talk through them real quick. This is the last topic of the show before we, kind of say goodbye to you guys for, till Wednesday, and then we'll have another, we record on Wednesday. It actually comes out Thursday. So 3 breakout candidates. The first one I got pretty obvious for me, Anthony Miller. I think Anthony Miller has been a little bit overdue for a breakout season. Obviously had a better season this previous year than his year prior, but he really picked up towards the end of the year. In the beginning of the year, he was not that great, and then towards the end of the season, he made most of his money there. So I'm excited to see that late season Anthony Miller throughout the entire 2020 NFL season, and I think if we have an improvement in quarterback play and improvement of line play, it's going to happen. It's going to be a big season for Anthony Miller.
Yeah, I've really been looking forward to Anthony Miller playing. I think that he could be someone that has a monster year, and I really want the Bears to use him. I think he's great in the slot, and I think that he can be continued to be used in the slot, but also to be flexed out wide in certain packages. Just kind of scheme him better and get him in some better matchups, and I think that Anthony Miller can absolutely terrorize defenses and, on deep balls where he's wide open, hopefully get it, somewhere around him so that he can actually catch it would also be huge. There's just too many, it seemed like from Trubisky in past years, especially last year at some points, just too many times where Anthony Miller was wide open and the ball wasn't even anywhere near him. So that needs to change for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that Anthony Miller could be on pace to have an absolutely amazing year. So I'm really looking forward to that. My first one was someone that I've been gassing up for a little bit, and that's Roquan Smith. I think, I'm really excited for him to come out and play this season. I think that he's, just like Anthony Miller, has been due for a breakout season. Not that Roquan Smith has not played well so far in his Bears career, but we talked a little bit last episode about how Danny Trevathan really makes it so Roquan Smith doesn't even really have to be that great for this Bears defense, or doesn't really need to have the great stats, because both of them as a duo are very good, and Trevathan has great experience and is a great tackler. But I think, in this coming year, I think Roquan Smith has a chance to, buff up his tackle number and also maybe get involved on a couple, turnovers, forcing fumbles, or, getting maybe a couple picks. So I expect him to be more a dynamic player and someone that's really going to prove his worth in this coming season.
With Roquan Smith, what I think a lot of it, what holds him back is just how much we use him in coverage. He's such a talented player that you can pretty much put him in coverage on a tight end, and he can hold his own. And that's just the type of player that Roquan Smith is. So he's not going to get all these tackle numbers with someone like Danny Trevathan, who kind of stays near the center to clean up if there's a run play. So obviously he has a little bit going against him as far as statistically, but as far as having a massive year from Roquan Smith, I truthfully believe it. I believe they said that he had the least missed tackles in the NFL last season. And he's just someone, when you watch him play, you could just tell he's a talented player. Like, someone who doesn't watch football could probably see the man play and be like, wow, he is a talented player. Just the way he hits, the aggressiveness he has. And it seems like this offseason, he's the most motivated he's ever been. So I'm really excited to see Roquan Smith improve and play better. As far as my second breakout candidate, I've got Jalen Johnson, which is kind of interesting because it's a rookie player. And you don't typically expect rookies to have huge years, but just the position he plays is such a need for us. And, with Jalen Johnson's ability and his football ready, he's so football ready right now. I mean, that's just the thing that's one of the reasons why we drafted Jalen Johnson, is just how ready he is to play the game. With his abilities, he and the defense we have, he is going to have a massive year. Even if he, lets up a couple of plays, I could see him, having 3 picks and just having a really good opposing quarterback QBR rating. Just big year from Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, I could definitely see it as well. I think he's been actually one of the more anticipated Bears rookies in a while, which is interesting, especially given that he wasn't even the first pick that they took, with that one being Cole Kmet. But I think that Jalen Johnson, he's definitely shown, or at least it seems like he's very ready to play just right now. And yeah, I think he has great ability to go out there and produce, to get quite a few interceptions this season. I think in the past podcasts, you and I, Austin, have said, possibly Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. So expectations are very high. And, for his first NFL season, he could have put up some very good numbers and, you know, really, really kind of get his NFL career off to a very good start. So I expect that, especially playing opposite of Kyle Fuller. He's going to be in some probably pretty good matchups. So I expect him to take advantage of that, as well as the pressure that this Bears front seven is going to be getting on the quarterback. There's probably going to be a few ducks that are up in the air, some poorly placed passes that he's going to be able to clean up. So
Tongue twister.
yeah, right, exactly. So I expect him to have a great year as well. I went with another person in the secondary for my second player, Trayshawn Gibson. I think he's a player that has talent. I think it's kind of understated how good he is on his own. He's had some good years down in Jacksonville. Most recently,
Top 100 player.
Yeah, most recently with the Houston Texans. So I think that Trayshawn Gibson brings a lot to the table himself. Now, when you also add to that equation that next to him, the safety that's going to be accompanying him is Eddie Jackson, I think it's going to give Trayshawn Gibson a lot of kind of independence to play that strong safety role exactly how he's going to want to play it downhill, go out there and make some big hits. Also, very good in coverage as well. He's put up some decent interception, decent pick numbers in the past. So I expect him to be someone that's going to flourish in this defensive scheme, especially with a great secondary like that. He's going to be able to play exactly how he wants to play. And I expect him to come out and have a great first season as a Chicago Bear.
And I don't think it's a stretch to say that the secondary, even as far as the starters go, is a better secondary than last season. Obviously, we're going to miss Prince Amukamara as he is a seasoned NFL veteran. But as far as the Clinton Dix upgrade goes, I think Trayshawn Gibson is a big upgrade from Clinton Dix specifically because he gives you a lot more at the line of scrimmage. And then he's also just as good as probably even better of a player in pass coverage. So with Trayshawn Gibson, I'm extremely excited for him coming this season. And then also Jalen Johnson, of course. I believe that he has the opportunity to play better than Prince Amukamara played last year. So high hopes for the secondary. My third and final breakout candidate is one I really considered not putting, but then I kind of recognize that this list is more about players that could break out. I'm not saying that all of them will break out. It's just a list of players to watch out for. And my final one, after these press conferences, are Mitchell Trubisky. I think that if everything he says is true, he's going to have a big year. Now, quarterbacks and NFL head coaches are notorious for lying about that stuff. So I wouldn't say that you should really, plan on that occurring, just as the Bears haven't really planned on that occurring. But he's going to do pretty well, I believe. I believe he's going to have a pretty good season. We might see him actually fight off Nick Foles if he made these improvements that he's claiming to have made.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into it too extensively because we could be right back here for another half an hour breaking down Mitchell Trubisky. So I'm going to keep a long story short and say that, yeah, if these improvements that are speculated are going to happen, and he's going to make some massive improvements this coming year, then yeah, he's going to be able to hold off Nick Foles and definitely will be a breakout candidate. Could certainly put up one of his best years. Now, whether or not that will happen, that's obviously the key question. It's the one that everyone's been asking. There's a lot of eyes on Mitchell Trubisky. The media is all over this man, and for good reason. He's the starting quarterback on one of the biggest teams in the NFL that has had kind of a maligned, an interesting history with this organization as for, how good he's been, putting up a decent season in 2018 and then kind of laying an egg last season. So certainly one to look out for. And my third pick was kind of one I went back and forth on as well. My third pick is Jimmy Graham. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge Jimmy Graham fan. I never have been a huge Jimmy Graham fan. Someone that often picks up a lot of injuries. Someone that, in recent years hasn't really produced to where, whether or not he's been on the Packers or the Seahawks, hasn't really quite put up the numbers that he ever quite did in New Orleans when he was so prolific. I think the expectations, not contract-wise, he got a very nice contract, but I think the expectations from some of the fans are so low that maybe Jimmy Graham can come out and surprise you with, at least being efficient in the red zone and being a target on, probably key third down conversion plays. I think that he can be someone that's making some pretty crucial catches in some pretty crucial moments in the game. So with that being said, I think he can be a breakout candidate, and at least in use and what people expect out of him this year. I think that when it's the crunch time moment of the games, that Jimmy Graham, as long as he's healthy, as long as he's in game shape, could be out there making some very important plays.
With Jimmy Graham, we talk extensively about how he probably wasn't worth his contract, and I stick by that. But I don't think that, obviously the Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet duo is a bad duo. I actually think that's a really good duo, and I think that we're going to see a really high level of productivity from this position that we haven't seen in a couple of years. As far as Jimmy Graham goes, though, I'm not really going to get too much into Cole Kmet. I think this is the first time that he has been in a situation that really fits him. And I know everyone always makes it out like, oh, he's just never been used right and this and this and that. And I don't really buy into that. I think obviously if a couple coaches, I think he's had like 3 coaches or like 5 or 6 offense coordinators in these with the past 2 teams he's been with. When that's a consistent trend, it starts to reflect more on the player than it does on the organization. But I do have to say that it seems like Ryan Pace really put him in the best position for him to succeed, because we are going to be using him as a true move tight end. He's not going to be the, classic, big guy. We're not going to make him block. That's why we drafted Cole Kmet, right? He's going to be used in more of a Trey Burton-esque role and just have the added feature of height. We're probably going to have him in the, the end zone, boxing out, just basic stuff like that every tight end does, but he's mainly going to be used for that move tight end role. So I have hope for him there. And also, he was brought in by the guy who advocated very highly for the Saints to draft him, which was Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace clearly likes something about Jimmy Graham and feels that he knows the ways in which he needs to be used in order to put him in the best position to succeed. And this isn't the first time that Ryan Pace has brought in an NFL outcast and gave them a big season. You look at Prince Amukamara. Prince Amukamara's career was practically over when he came to the Chicago Bears. People were mocking the Bears for the signing. He signed a 1-year, I believe it was $7 million contract with us. Played pretty damn good on that season and ended up getting a 3-year contract for us. And we ended it 1 year short to go out and get a, younger player. But Prince Amukamara was a valuable piece for this Bears defense and the 2018 historically great Bears defense. So, and then you look at other guys, right? Like HaHa Clinton-Dix, another guy that Ryan Pace helped, resurge in the NFL. And just Ryan Pace has a history of bringing in, guys who are veterans that, they had a little bit of a down year, getting good value on them and then having them, have a great year. But in this case, he might just be missing out on the good value.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we have to see with Graham. I think, like you said, clearly Pace likes something, about his play. And there is a lot to like when he's playing at his best. And it's just going to be a matter of the Bears getting that best out of him.
Hey guys, like our video, subscribe, and check out our bi-weekly podcast on Apple Podcasts. Thanks.